The Emperor of Austria has a strained relationship with the Empress Elisabeth, and there is a war that is coming up with France. Now, how does he fare in this situation? Well, we are going to be discussing more about his performance and also dig deeper into the review of The Empress, which is the show that is available on Netflix. So stay tuned, guys.
Niemals kannst du eine Kaiserin sein. Du wirst ihn ruinieren.
Alright, for those that are new to my channel, I'm Siddharth Kumar from Review Magic, and we review shows, movies available on Netflix, Prime, etc. And this is a one-stop shop for that. So welcome everyone. And now let's dig into the plot of The Empress. Empress is a German historical period drama. It is available on Netflix. Season 1, Season 2 are out with 6 episodes. Now, this is a story that is set in the 1850s. The Empress Elisabeth of Austria, who is the main protagonist here, also goes by the name of Sisi, is married to her first cousin, the Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria. And in season 1, you're going to see how this marriage unfolds. There's a lot of other things that are also happening. For example, there are assassination attempts on the emperor. There are coups that are involved, and how he is trying to take control of revolution, reaching out to his ministers, his generals, to make sure that there is enough peace and prosperity and good command over all the different regions that Austria has. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, who is newly married now, and she comes from Bavaria and has moved now into Vienna, the palace kingdom, now has trouble adjusting into the disciplined court life and also in the palatial lifestyle in general. She's having issues with her mother-in-law. Of course, there's a lot of pressure to start becoming pregnant. The Catholic Church is deeply involved into it. She's kind of maneuvering all these situations in season 1. In addition to that, Russia is now trying to bring its soldiers now on the border of Austria, and of course the Franz Joseph, the emperor, is pretty perturbed about it, so he's also sending his army just to make sure that they are commanding well against the Tsar. So that is what's happening in season 1. In season 2, what you will see is that, of course, there are a lot of different communities that are speaking Italian, and they're trying to come together to form an independent country, Italy. I didn't know that Milan was earlier part of the Austrian empire, but that was something interesting that came to my knowledge. And then besides that, you will also see there's a lot of politics that is brewing between different stakeholders. War with France just seems imminent because Italians are now wanting to have their own independent nation, and Napoleon Bonaparte is now going to join that war and stand up against the emperors of Austria. So there's a lot of things going on. I mentioned in season 1 the coup that his own brother is trying to stage and getting buy-ins from different stakeholders, the church, his mother, and also from the ministers in the Austrian government. So that is what the overall plot is. So my quick analysis of The Empress. This show had been trending for quite some time on Netflix. I'm a big fan of history. When you actually start to see this show, it is beautifully picturized. I mean, it will mesmerize you. This takes you back in the 18th century where, the Austria, France, Russia. I mean, there was a lot of conflict in that region. And of course, every king or queen, they wanted to establish their supremacy, forge alliance. Life was, of course, very different back then. These characters that I'm talking about in the review, they had a royal life. So, everything is larger than life. Big palaces, big rooms. You have, maids that are helping you. So it's definitely a very royal appeal to the show. And then also from the start to the end, I mean, they're also showing a lot of challenges that are happening in the life of both the emperor and the empress, whether they're trying to conceive, whether they're dealing with office politics, or just empress relationship with her mother-in-law. The brother of the emperor, who's trying to also woo the empress. At the same time, the revolutionary people are also there. There are people that are in the court side that are looking to kill the emperor. So it is just a very very well made show overall, from start to the end. I think when I started watching the show, initially, you're trying to get your foot into the door, understanding about the Austrian culture, the kingdom, the palaces back then, their lifestyle. And then it is slow in the beginning, but as you give it some time, you will see that a lot of things unravel quickly. In the life of Franz Joseph, in the life of the Empress Elisabeth, and especially for her, because she came from Bavaria, and the life over there was very simple. Franz Joseph came to initially marry Sisi's sister, but he changed his mind. So now he's married to Sisi. They come to the palace, and it is definitely a lot of adjustments for Elizabeth in this new lifestyle. She doesn't like the fact that someone has to dress her up all the time. She's having these raw eggs so that she can conceive, even eat placentia for that matter. And then also that once she's worn a shoe, she cannot wear it again. Also that there are a lot of rules and regulations in place. At some point, it feels like, yes, this has to be there, but also then it gets too stretched, especially for Sisi, who's very, very carefree. She just wants to have a good impact on the kingdom, on the people. She connects well with them, but that goes against the mother-in-law, against Franz, who wants to be still tight and not be so close to the everyday common man that is outside the palace. So there's just a lot of things going on, turmoil. There is some conflicts going on, politics. Generals are involved to try to make sure that there is peace, and of course there is better control of the situation with different countries. So all in all, I feel like this was a pretty well made show, in my opinion. I haven't seen many Austrian period dramas, but this would be something that will stand out for me, especially given what has been shown in this particular show. So that would just be something that you guys have to watch and think for yourself whether this connected with me. But for me personally, I was completely enamored just by looking at how this story, which is actually a real story, has been portrayed and brought into real life. Now let's talk about the acting of all the different characters that were involved here. So first of all, you have Devrim Lingnau. So that is Sisi, who is the Empress, the main protagonist. I felt like her role, of course, in the show was somewhat, she's very outwardly kind of going. She enjoys parties, she speaks her mind, but there are some times when she retreats back into her shell. She doesn't like too many rules and regulation. And from that standpoint, I thought Devrim did a phenomenal job. I mean, her whole sense of, just understanding what is going on around her, putting herself in the shoes of an empress, the rules and regulation, how she transforms into that character is worth watching, because she comes from that town of in Bavaria, of course from a royal family, but this is now a bigger play. How you walk, how you talk, how you portray yourself is going to be very important. So she has to learn all these things fairly quickly. So definitely her character is very important. This is the main protagonist here. How she balances her relationship with her husband, with her mother-in-law, with the court in general. Of course, I mean, there's just a lot of things that are going on here. So I felt like definitely this was phenomenal performance. Now, when it comes to the Emperor Philip Froissant, who's Franz Joseph, he definitely is a shy and reserved character. I mean, he's fallen in love with Sisi, and you definitely can see that kind of an emperor look in him. I mean, he's tall, he's good looking, he does fit into that role very well. But season one, you see that he's timid, he's shy. Of course, he's getting married, so they kind of take it easy on him. But things start to escalate sooner. You see that he becomes in a more commanding authority, especially given that Austria had no knowledge that France was helping the rebels in Italy with ammunition, guns, and of course his viceroy in France, that has not helped the situation at all. So you can see the transformation happening in Philip's character. I liked how he was dealing with all these situations. It felt very real, just to see him like that. You almost feel like you're in a real life story. So good acting performance overall by him as well. And then Melika Foroutan, who plays Sophie, she's the Archduchess of Austria, the mother of Philip. Her role is also very critical in The Empress. Of course, she is trying to make sure that the kingdom is run smoothly. She's almost like the chief operating officer of today's enterprise. So, she will not let anything come in the way to jeopardize the kingdom, the heir. She wants sons. She had 3 sons. So, of course, she is also now trying that. Sisi, Elizabeth also has kids, and when Sisi has a daughter, of course, there are different tensions. Then she has a baby son. So the things are changing back and forth with Sophie, between her and Devrim. But definitely Melika portrays a character who's very stern, who's very assertive, and she's not gonna take no for an answer. I mean, she could go to any length to make sure that all the ducks are in the row, to make sure Austrian Empire is safe. So that is a very strong and demanding character. So very interesting here. You see Devrim's performance, you see Philip's performance, and right there Melika steps in as the mother. And as you would see, I've seen a lot of shows. I mean, if you see The Queen on Netflix, of course, Queen Elizabeth also has that character that has transformed as you become senior. That's the thing that Melika has portrayed. So she's pretty, she's beautiful in her age. She's also she's making sure that every custom is adhered to, and then she's also trying that Devrim doesn't get very close to the common people. That's where she has the tensions with. So her performance also was noteworthy. And then you have Johannes Nussbaum. So he plays the brother of Philip. He has an interesting role. At some point he seems very cunning. He almost staged a coup against his own brother, and then of course he's living in exile. He's throwing lavish parties. He's almost like that Casanova. So he's bouncing from one girl to the other girl, having a lot of relationships, and then he doesn't have much experience in the political senator area, but still he gets that role because of his brother. So that is something that he was performing, and he did pretty well in my opinion. I mean, I started to hate this character so much. So definitely Johan has done a great job here. So all the other actors in the show also are pretty noteworthy. Alexander, who is the closest senator to Philip, he was also brilliant. All the court maids, whether it's the generals, whether it is the cast outside the palace, everyone has some important role to play in my opinion. So that is all about the acting. Now let's talk about the music. Of course, there are so many different notes that you can find for season 1, season 2, but my favorite is of course the intro note. I'm always a big believer that if that can catch your attention, it sets the stage. It has a mystical, dark tone that kind of makes you feel like, all right, something bad is going to happen. The trailer, the intro music also shows you some of the different glimpses, scenes, and you try to picture what is going to happen, but definitely a lot of work has gone into that intro music. There are a lot of other tracks as well, but that intro just sets the stage for me. I really liked it. It just kind of, it is appealing to you when, and you think that, overall, there has been a good amount of work done, not just in the acting, cinematography, or the plot, but also making sure that everything fits together. So the music just binds everything, according to me. Now let's talk about the set direction. Now this is going to be a very important aspect of my review as well. So when you are showing a German period drama, especially in the 18th century, attention to details is very important. Now the sets, the palaces where they shot were actually in Germany, and all the other things are also very intricate. The carriage, the people, the way they dress up, the language back that was used. Of course, I saw the whole thing in English, but in German also, this had to be factored into. The details into the clothing, the trains, the rides, what people used to do when in their spare time, what sports they used to play, how they would take walks with people following them. I think the set is absolutely beautiful. It is majestic. There is nothing that has not been spared, in my opinion. The stewards, people who are helping you, the way the parties happen, the music. This is definitely a very well thorough researched, according to me, when it comes to the set direction. So all kudos to the team that have put together this. This doesn't seem to be a very easy work, going back in that time and then figuring things out as to what different people have to wear. I mean, the Emperor Philip has to wear a dress every day, and there is a staff member that is helping him. Looks polished, clean. It just looks amazing, and the dresses are gorgeous. They are beautifully designed, orchestrated. So in my opinion, of course, this has been done phenomenally well. Now, when it comes to cinematography, you have to also keep in mind that there are love scenes here between Philip and Devrim. Of course, they are showing sunlight where they are playing near the lake, the water. There is lovemaking happening as well, but also there are some darker scenes where revolutionary people, they are conniving. The scenes outside in the mill, or whether it is just traveling in general, you see that the dent in it, so that gives you that dark feeling that something is going to happen. You still get used to it. There are scenes of the forest overall. So overall, it's beautifully done. The camera work is beautiful to me. It's balanced well with different shades, and enough that you can see someone's face when it is dark, enough that you can see someone's dress when it's out day, broad light. So the camera angle is good as well. It kind of is so important when you're showing this kind of story. The scenes of the church, the domes from inside, outside, and sometimes the camera work is so close to someone's face that yes, you have to read their expression. Sometimes it's from different angles. So greatly done in the dance sequences, everything. So the camera work to me was spectacular. Let's talk about the editing. Of course, when you think that this kind of period drama is only 6 episodes, you won't believe that. I mean, they are almost an hour-long episodes, but within 6 episodes, everything has been taken care of. Season 1, as explained, is more about the relationship between the emperor and the empress adjusting into that new world, and then also there is this court politics happening, adjustment period, revolution, pregnancy. So it is well compact and fit everything into that season 1. You don't feel that it is stretched for any longer. I mean, maybe few things where the character of Johannes, who is hitting on the empress, was kind of unnecessary. I'm not sure if that really happened back in the time, and the empress, of course, revolting that. Season 2 also is very compact. I mean, it goes very quickly into now the main issue, which is like the war with France, and of course you can see tension brewing in the mind of Franz Joseph. Let me tell you this, that he lost his first child. The empress, of course, there is grief in the family, and now they have to go to war. They are not having strategic alliances. The emperor actually leaves the palace because she has lost her child and she starts living in Bavaria. So there is that gap in between. And of course, the prince has a relationship with an actress from his past days. So there is just a lot of things that are brewing, but everything is very well compact between season 1, season 2, and then season 3, which is also going to come later this year. So good editing work as well. Now the final piece is the direction. Now of course this is a beautifully made story. It is flowing very well. I think it starts from the time when the Empress gets married to the Emperor, and then of course how she's adjusting, and then the politics, her adjustment, the wars that are going to happen with France, with Russia. I really felt that the director brought me into history. He took me from the present and took me back in that era. That aroused my interest to see how the story was moving one after the other thing. There are so many different elements that I just talked about, but they're very beautifully tied together. I mean, one after the other, you don't feel that the director has lost touch with one part or the other. He beautifully is going from one element to the other, but also then going back to the previous one to make sure that there is kind of an equal weightage across all these connecting stories in this big show. So I really like that. Of course, to put that story into perspective, that vision was also important. So that you will see in The Empress. I don't think you will be disappointed the way the story, especially if you are a historical fan, you like period dramas, and I think you also like European history. That is important too, because period dramas are from all different countries: India, Korea, whether it is America, and so on. But this has its charm. That is the one thing that I think, if there is a takeaway from this show, is how charming this role or this show puts that emphasis on you. You kind of want to. It's like a breath of fresh air. With everything that is going on, but at the same time, the customs, the traditions, one of its kind. It has that simple aspect as well, and she's the Empress. Of course, she's very charming. She's very innocent, but at the same time, she also wants to have good relationship with her husband. So there's just so much going on here, and it is just simply marvelous that the director has shown all the different facets here, got his characters to play those roles in a very beautiful manner that kind of fit into this story. So full marks to the director as well. This was a good story in my opinion, guys. So I am overall going to give this 8.5 out of 10. The only place when I'm taking the marks away is that I don't think Johannes exclusive relationship with different people or trying to hit on the Empress was really necessary. I think his role also, I felt that may not have been really required. He was just kind of being on the side, and he was brought into the show as and when required. So that is the only part that I felt was kind of not needed. But otherwise, the story is great. So that's where I'll leave you guys. I definitely recommend this to watch it. If you enjoyed this review, guys, please give it a like, a thumbs up, or you can comment down. What did you think about The Empress? I can't wait for season 3 to come. But until then, this is Siddharth Kumar signing off, and I'll see you next time for another review. Take care.